Hey everyone, it's Ray from the Teach Better team, and I have probably my two favorite people with me tonight. I have Chad Ostrowski, who was a part of our chat and went live with you guys for the pre-chat. But then I also have our Mastery Chat host, Jeff Gargas, with us. So how are you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
Doing awesome.
Glad to
Great.
be here again.
Another great chat.
It was a really good chat. And Jeff, I know that we pick on you a lot, but just so you know, jokes aside, this was a really good topic. Good job.
Do you guys pick on me? Because if you do, it must be behind my back. Because I thought we
Ray,
just picked
why
on.
You ruining stuff?
Yeah.
Now he knows.
No, it was a great chat. Like it was exactly what I was hoping for as far as people being excited about the topic. So there was lots of sharing and lots of people who had like never heard of it or had just heard of it but didn't have any idea or any use that like are learning. Like I can't remember even how many tweets towards the end that was just like, I'm soaking up every piece of this. I'm taking all this back. I'm getting excited. I'm talking to my admins. I'm going to talk with my co-teacher. Like people getting jazzed up and going to like test things out. I love that. That was awesome. That was exactly what I was hoping for.
We even had a principal that was like experiencing the chat and was like, I need to learn more about this so I can find out how I can support my staff.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was just such a cool, first of all, what a cool reaction from an administrator to have. Like that's the kind of administrator we want to have as a teacher in terms of the support, which is just awesome. But the entire idea that like we talked about this in pre-chat a bit, but like, we're basically on the cusp of this. So the people participating in this chat, like there are people, I guarantee you, in this chat that are on the cutting edge of using AR and VR in their classroom. Like they're on the very like edge of where this is supposed to be, and they're using it really innovatively and things like that. And at the same time, in the same chat, you have people who have either never used it, which I actually have very limited experience with VR and AR. And I think we're in this really interesting time that was perfectly illustrated by the chat itself and by the culminating questions and different types of people who were in it. So I think it's really cool to get sort of like a litmus test of where education is in VR and AR based on the participation of the chat. And I think that's just a really neat like observation I was able to make of this is where education's at with this topic. And I think that was really cool.
Somebody summed it up really nice. I can't remember who it was, but he kind of compared it saying that AR is where 1-to-1 was 3 to 5 years ago.
Yeah.
3 to 5 years ago, there were certain schools that had it, some teachers that had it, but then it wasn't that common. Now 1-to-1 is becoming very close to being a necessity.
I agree.
Where AR, there's people that are testing out, getting into it and stuff like that, but it's not. It's getting. I think AR in the next 3 years will be that where it's a commonplace more than it's not. VR is further down the road just because of the expense that's connected to it right now, at least.
Sure.
I think you're gonna see a big boom of VR and video gaming, and I actually think in the medical field, and then you'll see it in the world of education more, and it'll come. But I think 5 to 10 years VR is going to be commonplace too. So it's really cool to see how that goes.
Well, and education is traditionally 5 to 10 years behind the rest of society in terms of integrating tech. Like that's like a pretty normal time frame. So if you look at
but I also think that we're not. I think that's changed. That's one of the biggest changes I think that's happened in these last couple of years and is going to happen is that I don't think education is going to continue to be that way. I think over the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see education shift and become one of the more progressive and cutting edge things. And I think social media is the big, and technology in general is the piece of that, because now you've got it where you got teachers going from 0 to 100 after a mastery chat. You know what I mean? So, and their influence, and you have principals coming on and saying, oh, I've never heard of it, or I've heard of these words, but I don't even know what they mean. And tomorrow I'm walking in and trying to figure out how my school can use it. So I think you're going to see that shift. I think you're going to see that's sort of a slowness or delayed progression from schools shift and become much quicker nowadays. That's my thought, my theory there. So
I think that's
it'll be interesting. It's cool to see.
So
Ray, are you still here? Do you want to talk?
Well, I mean, I love when you guys get on your rampages. You guys are awesome. I always learn so much, and I'm sitting here reflecting, like, do I agree with that? Why is that? I'm sitting here processing. Really quick though, I want to hear all your thoughts. I want to say hi to Cheryl, who is popping into our video, and also Amber, Jeff, and Chad. Amber O'Day is a part of the Unified School District that I work in, so
nice.
we have a cool person in our midst.
Nice. Is she using any AR or VR in her classroom?
Oh, Amber is like the tech guru. So she is somebody in Unit 5 who is constantly helping teachers make this idea a reality in her classroom. And so she is perfect for this video.
Does she know that we're going to be in your area next week?
Amber, we should all hang out. They're going to be
Maybe we should go check out Amber's classroom next week.
Well, she's not in the classroom. She's a tech coach.
She's a tech coach. Well, maybe she can take us around and show us some of the cool stuff. All right, cool.
Amber.
All right, we'll connect. Let's make that happen. I love it.
So, guys, you touched on the topic was AR and VR. Jeff, if you don't mind, could you just highlight what the responses were for what is AR and what is VR? Because some people on our live may not have been a part of the Twitter chat, and so we kind of need to like set that foundation. So, what was the topic about? How can you define those acronyms?
Yeah, so the topic was AR and VR in education. AR stands for augmented reality, and VR stands for virtual reality. AR it seemed pretty well understood. Most people seem to grasp onto both of them and there was a lot of. I'm trying to think of some of the ways that people phrased them, as far as how they say. Let me see. I've got a couple. Hold on a second. I've got a couple. I'm not sure if I took screenshots of those. Of course I didn't.
Documentation.
I didn't take any screenshots of the first couple. It was about, I think it was question 4. I was like, I need to like capture some. But a lot of people had a lot of different ways of explaining. So I saw AR, one of the big ones that people kept going to is Pokemon Go, right? That was massive. What was that, 2 years ago that it came out? A year and a half, 2 years ago? And that's, AR is where you're augmenting your current reality. So you're making a change or an addition or something's happening within your current world. Whereas virtual reality is taking you into a whole new world that's created virtually for you, and encompassing you in that. So those are the two kind of, the easiest distinction between those two. So you think of, I think Tiffany mentioned it. I don't know if she said Pokemon Go, and then she said, what's the movie? Ready Player One was the movie she mentioned, which is a VR movie. Yeah, a great book. Yeah, as well. So.
I remember. I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt.
You're good.
Yeah, well, in that book, and I haven't seen the movie yet, but in that book, there is an entire educational system built in a virtual reality, and I think that's a really cool concept, right? So, like, kids living across a country can go to any school they want, basically. But it's all through VR, and
it's like Class VR. I don't know if you know Class VR, but Class VR, like that's what they're doing. I don't know how many classrooms around the world are actually utilizing it to the full extent, but that's what they're pushing and what they're doing is that it's not going to be, it's not going to be because you live here, you're in this class. It's going to be connected, and those those online schools or whatever it might be are going to feel like you're in a classroom because you're going to be built into that your headset in there and stuff. I don't know if either one of you have done a lot with. Have you done a lot with Ray? Have you done much with VR, like with headsets yourself?
So we did a VR without headsets, which I know sounds weird, but I used an app called Figment that allows you to feel like you're in a different reality, but it's not on your face. Which for what I was using, I think VR on your, like, actually a headset would have been awesome. But to be honest, I didn't have the money. And this app kind of like gave me a great middle ground to be able to explore VR with my students without having the actual headset and making all that happen. So they ate it up. It was to introduce our topography unit in our math class. It had to do with plotting coordinate planes. And
is that where you use the portals and stuff?
That was the portal activity.
Can you just share that? Can you give us like the rundown of what that was? You shared that with me, and it's an awesome activity you did.
Yeah, so there's a lot of other things that we have planned for this year, but this was my first time actually dabbling with it and kind of setting up a lesson that I said, hey, it's either going to be awful or it's going to be great. And so we had whatever students could download this app, and I ended up with like 3 to 5 in each class, which was fine. And it's called Figment, and it doesn't do a lot, but it did exactly what we needed. And our students were starting a plotting unit for math, like plotting on a coordinate plane, X and Y coordinates. And I was trying to find a way to link it to our themed internship. My students operate within themed internships throughout the year using the Teach Further model. And our intro day is really to hook them in. So I gave them 5 maps that they had to look at the topography, what the area was, and then they used VR on their phones to walk through that location and make predictions on where they were around the world. So it was really cool. Figment is really simple to use, and I think because it's limited, it actually was a great place to start. But students were like walking around our hallways, like looking around, trying to figure out where they were. We hid portals all around the school, so they had to physically walk around the school to find the portal, walk into the portal, and then identify where they were around the world. And that was their introduction to starting our plotting unit. So we had a blast with that. We finished that a few weeks ago, and now we're in Tobin's Pizza. And then after that, we're headed to our doctor unit where we're going to use those cubes to look at.
You're going to use you got merge cubes. Merge cubes is a really cool and an inexpensive way to get started too. That allows you to do some really cool stuff. I think you can get a merge cube for like $10 on Amazon, right?
Well, and actually that was my favorite tweet. Sorry to everybody who tweeted, but my favorite tweet was Amber O'Day saying, hey, I've got some merge cubes. Do you want some? I'm like, yes.
Heck yeah. Tell her to send me one. No, that's what. And Figment, touching on Figment, you mentioned that it's limited. Figment's a really good way to start because it's limited. You're far less likely to be overwhelmed.
Yes.
And when they're limited like that, you know exactly what they can do, and then you work that into it. And you don't get all crit because some of them are like really complex.
Yep.
It can really confuse the heck out of you. So really,
this
cool.
was a great place to start. Absolutely.
Something that Ray does an amazing job with, and we preach all the time, Ray especially, is that even giving students that amazing experience, though, the important part is the purpose behind it, right?
Yeah.
So like that. Students would love that experience, whether there's a purpose behind it or not, but it's not productive from an educational standpoint unless the purpose is there, right? And I think that was one of those things where when we use technology, whether it's AR, VR, or anything else, or even just getting them hooked in or excited, without that purpose, like it doesn't matter. Like even if students are quote unquote engaged or having fun, right? They're not growing, they're not learning because there's no purpose. And I think that was echoed a lot in the mastery chat tonight. A lot of people said, VR is great if you use it with purpose, but if you use it just because it's cool, I have this saying that like random acts of coolness are fun for students, but pointless for teachers. And pointless for education.
It's true.
Right? Yeah. So like I can have a lot of fun with my students and they think this is really cool and it's neat, but what questions am I asking them? What do they want them to gain from this? Am I actually assessing what they understand or grew or understood from this? Is it serving a purpose or greater connection that they're making to either the outside world or the unit or the content in some way, shape, or form? Because if it's not there, it's just a random act of coolness or a random act of awesomeness or whatever you want to call it, right? So I think that's the foundation of a lot of what we do, right? Is helping give teachers purpose to what they're doing. But I think it fits this conversation especially well because VR and AR are very cool tools. They can be a lot of fun, but if you're just doing that because it's cool and it's fun, there's not a lot of purpose there, and you end up wasting a lot of time, a lot of resources, and potentially maybe even a lot of money, depending on what you spend on these things, for something that's not doing what it's supposed to in the context of education in the classroom. So I love that you kind of highlighted that with that story, and I think that's a really important point that I wanted to kind of reiterate.
And I liked you mentioned it, Chad, and one of the questions was, about the fact that AR is on its way, whether you like it or not. So the question was basically, do you like it or not? And, is it a good thing for education? I think everyone in one way or another said exactly what you just said, which is the same thing that's echoed all the time about tech tools, which is tech's great as long as it's purpose-driven and it makes sense and it connects, and it's not meant to replace you, but rather to enhance what you're doing in some way or another, enhance that experience. So, yeah, it was really nice to see everyone saying that. No one came out and said that they thought it was a bad idea in any way. Most people said it was a great thing for education, but just with the caution and stuff. So that was really cool to see. I love seeing that.
Hey, Amber, just so I can take your comment down, I didn't want to forget, it was Figment. It's something you can download only on an iPhone, not an Android, and it looks like a teardrop, and it's purple and pink. It's called Figment. So, gentlemen, of all the stuff that you saw on Twitter, what was your favorite? Did you have like a favorite moment, a favorite question? Did you see something that was surprising? Those are always my favorite topics.
I think I'm trying to think of the surprise, and my favorite tweet of the whole thing was didn't really even touch on like an example or anything like that, but it was it was one Chad mentioned, which was Ryan Andrews, who's a principal, who said, "This is why I love Twitter. Now I want to know more and see how I can help the T's find more ways to incorporate ARV in the classroom." And I love that because that was the whole reason. That's the whole reason we do Master Chat, right? Is to share ideas and inspire each other and help each other and support each other. And there were so many similar tweets throughout the whole chat of, I wasn't aware of this and I didn't know this or whatever. Now I'm going to try it. Now I'm going to do this. And there was a ton of resources shared, which we're going to try and put together a list of all of those resources shared, which could take a long time because there's a lot of them, but some really awesome stuff. So if you weren't in the chat or you haven't gone back, go back on the hashtag and scroll through, because there were a ton of awesome resources shared as far as what everybody's using in the classroom, which a really cool one. Someone shared that they had just discovered Moteboat, which was the moment that I discovered Moteboat, which is it's a really cool app where you create a virtual environment and then you have, I'm trying to think through how it'll connect to things because it's just fun in my head right now.
Oh, I love doing that. Try me.
You create like a virtual environment, and then the things and the elements in the environment will do certain things, but it's all voice command. So on their site, for example, they build a little farm and they put cows, and they say, and the cows dance, and the cows start dancing, and add some people, and it just adds people, like 3 people or whatever. And they're like, and the people milk the cows, and the people walk over and milk the cows. And it's yeah.
That's a really cool idea for a writing class and illustrating their narrative stories.
It's what she does. I mean, it's
I love it.
Yeah, so it was really cool because those were apps. I obviously I was doing a lot. You guys know I've been doing a lot of reading about AR and VR, and I'm in a couple groups and stuff. So I heard of most of the stuff that was shared, but that one was like, I haven't heard of that. It was a cooler one. Looks like a newer app that they're developing. It'll be interesting to see where they go with it and stuff. So that was a lot of fun. My favorite part was just seeing all the people saying that they're going to try it now. And there was a mention of an article from Stanford about VR being used in medicine. And that's one of the things that I've seen recently. There's some doctors in the UK utilizing it to ease the tension and the stress and the pain when you're in an office. The cool thing that I saw was there's doctors in the UK utilizing it for using VR to help when kids are getting their immunization shots.
Yes, we were just talking about this.
Yeah, and so imagine the kids go to the doctor to get the shots, and they put on a VR headset, and they're transported into this imaginary world, colorful, fun, happy. But then, these characters come up to them, and there's trouble in the world, and they've got to, me as a child, I've got to help them, right? So they put on I can't remember what it was, like my freeze blaster or something like that, which is when they put the numbing solution on your arm and it feels cool, right? And then when you get the shot is when you're putting on like your fire blaster or something like that, and then you got to go save the world. Like there's like scenarios like that, so that the child doesn't even realize what's happening. And what they're seeing and they're predicting is that it'll actually be a long-term health benefit because the because a lot of doctors and a lot of people, psychologists, believe that if you look at surveys, like it's like 85 to 90% of guys, it's probably lower than that, but like a high number of men don't report anything to their doctors. And go figure, we have a higher mortality rate. I mean, I think about myself, it's spot on, right? And they say that a lot of that, now some of that's just us being stupid, but so many people don't like going to a doctor, and a lot of that tension and that nerves that are built from that are from our experiences when we were kids. So if you can limit that and change that, imagine them not having to fear of going to the doctor, not having that experience of that pain that sticks with them and stuff. So just a cool, thing. And they're talking about like, kids who are in severe medical conditions, using that to help them ease their pain and ease their suffering and ease their nerves. That's just a really cool, stepping out of education, obviously, for a little bit there, but like just in general, the power of tech as it keeps coming and things like this, that what we can do is really cool. So it's neat.
And something that, not directly relating to that, but in relation to how VR can really support somebody's ability to do something more successfully. In the classroom, VR, when the one time I was able to use it, that first time, if you're listening and considering using it, it got my kids up and moving. How valuable is it to finally find a tech tool where they're not needing to sit and look at a computer screen? My kids were running, mistakenly, they should have been walking, but running around the building. We're giving them the physical movement and they're still getting knowledge. And so while it's really great in a ton of fields, and I really think that in a few years it's going to be enormous, there's so much value in getting those goals that we've always wanted to achieve in the classroom that maybe this is a good support for them.
Yeah. Really
I agree.
It's good stuff. Ray, did you have a favorite? Did you have a favorite answer or a shocking one, the one you didn't see coming, or something that jumped out at you?
So I have a few, I guess, that I don't need to talk about all of them, but the one thing I loved was that you asked people to share resources. I was dying for some new resources past the Merge Cube, past our surgery
unit. Did you get some? Because there was a lot shared.
Yes, I did, and I was so thankful because, like I said, I've been dabbling, but I knew what I was doing for my next unit, and then after that, I was like, oh, what do I go back to Figment? Like that was kind of limiting. I don't know what else I could do with that they haven't already done, and so now I have a huge amount of places I'm going to go look, and so I can't wait for us to put together that list and kind of dive deeper into how I can use every single component in all the rest of my units. So that was awesome. And then stupidly, I think one of my favorite tweets was one that just showed me how strong of a network we've built for Mastery Chat. It's kind of silly, but Mark, very early on, in our introduction, tweeted that he was in the car today with Jeff and I because secretly he was listening to our really Teach Better Talk podcast.
Saw that, yeah.
I know, and I know that doesn't have to do with Mastery Chat, but Mark is somebody we've connected with on Twitter because of Mastery Chat. He's there every single week. He's so wonderful. Yep. And for him to be like, hey, I drove in the car with Jeff and Ray, and Adam DeVinco talking about, education because he listened to our podcast. I was like, oh, we have such cool educators we're connected with. I love that teachers, even in the car, are choosing to learn and be a part of our network all the time. So it was just cool.
Yeah, and that was cool. We had, just to give more shout out to the podcast, last week when Tiff and I were down in OAGC in Columbus, Ohio, we had a teacher that come up and goes, hey, you drove down with us. I drove down with you or something like that. I was listening to you and Ray the whole way down. I can't remember what episode she was listening to, but she listened to us all the way down, because wherever she drove from. So yeah, it's really cool. Which, by the way, in case you didn't know, we had an extra episode come out today of Teach Better Talk. So we've had so many awesome episodes that we decided we'd throw one extra out today. So that's pretty cool. And I'm just going to keep going with coolness, is that tomorrow morning we've got a brand new course coming out.
We do.
I'm just going way away from Master Chat now. We're going to the other awesome stuff. But yes, we have a brand new free course coming out tomorrow morning. And Ray, what's it about?
Oh my gosh, Jeff, I've gotten, no kidding, today alone, 12 emails of teachers asking about the free course. And that's just this afternoon. I'm so excited. We have a free course, which those are my favorite, coming out tomorrow, which is all about standard-based grading. And it really is perfect for someone just looking to dabble, just to get a smidgen of information, dip their toes in to the pool and try and learn more about standard-based grading, standard-based learning, really doing authentic assessments for our students' understanding levels. I'm so excited. There's so much in there, and it's really going to, I'm hoping, get people more comfortable in starting the conversation of changing the way we grade in the classroom. So excited.
Yeah, it's a great course.
I'm excited for that one too.
Excited about it. So
I think
go ahead, Chad.
I think a lot of people are scared to take that leap because they don't know certain things. And I think the amount that we give them in that course is just like the perfect amount to kind of lift up the veil and let them see the potential and the possibility, and give them some real practical ways to kind of, like the title says, get their feet wet in the process, so that they can truly, they can just visualize it. And a lot of times that's all it takes for them to kind of take it, because a lot of like VR and AR, see how I'm bringing it back to Mastery Chat now, a lot like VR and AR, standards-based grading is coming whether anyone wants it to or not. Like I would literally bet every ounce of money I had on standards-based grading will be the normal way we grade within the next 5, 10, 15 years. Like I have no doubt in my mind, none whatsoever. So like these things are going to happen. So anything we can do to help support that, I think is amazing. I think we help support that every single day. So I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of people.
Well, and we mentioned this when we went live. I don't know, Jeff, when were we live? Monday? We were talking about.
We'll call it Monday. Yeah.
We'll call it Monday. It was sometime this week when we were awake. And it was talking about how this is just the intro, and it's a really great, using like Tiffany language, like bite-sized piece. It's not meant to overwhelm you. It's really for those people who are truly looking to get an idea of what it is, learn about the pillars that they need to really make decisions around if they want to start dabbling. And then it's a great foundation, because from there you can ask questions. You can go read our teachbetter.com blogs. There's so many blogs on standard-based grading, but a lot of feedback we got for those blogs is, I need to understand SPG more to then be able to use the resources we have all over the blogs. And I think this is just the perfect dose of you just trying to get your feet wet and learn about why this has to be coming in education.
Yeah, and if you're so as we already said, that course is free, so it's really easy to enroll in that. If you already have the membership, the $9 a month membership, you'll get automatically enrolled tomorrow morning, so you can just get on and start taking it right away. I do want to mention, though, just because I want people to know, as some people are going to be driving a lot of traffic on the course site tomorrow, is that we do have a pretty awesome Halloween sale coming up for our online courses, so keep that in mind for you. It's going to start on Monday.
You're telling them all these secrets right now?
I'm just letting them know.
I got an email this morning saying, don't tell anybody but, and you just said it live on Facebook.
Well, who sent you that email? Me? Well, I guess I'm allowed to say it. No, but what I'm looking out for people, because what I don't want someone is to go purchase a course tomorrow and then they could get it cheaper on Monday. How's that for savvy business people telling you not to spend your money tomorrow, right?
Love it.
I want you to save it, and but the free course tomorrow, you don't have to do anything. You just get in there and go. So, make sure you just do that. It's such a good course. Sorry,
and it's short, so it's like 14 modules. So you'll be done with the free course by the time everything's on sale on Monday.
Yeah, so you can get it tomorrow and take it through this weekend without even using a ton of time. Honestly, you can get a lot of stuff, and it's like all of our other courses. You have lifetime access, and you can move at your own pace. So you can check in, check out, and stuff, and move as you want to. You don't have to do it all in one sitting and stuff. So you can kind of consume it as you want to on that. So, what was that, Chad?
And all of our courses have certificates with them.
Yeah, you get your certificate and your digital badge to show off some awesomeness. So that's good stuff. And you get it's like 14 videos of Ray. I mean,
there could be worse things.
You had me at Ray was working on a new. It doesn't matter what's after that. It doesn't, because it's going to be amazing, and it is amazing, and everyone should go see it.
Oh my goodness.
So something about Mastery Chat. Listen to the podcast and get the new course. Right. That sums up what we were talking about tonight.
And stay awesome, everybody. That's what I think.
I think.
Well, I really appreciate you, Jeff, hosting. You did a great job. This is an awesome topic. We needed to be challenged with this. So super, super appreciate all your hard work leading this epic chat.
Yeah, super fun chat. It was a lot of fun. It was exciting. And my fingers were going. It was a fast moving chat. I love it. So much fun.
We will put together all those resources for you guys, our listeners, to make sure that you can start dabbling in VR and AR. We hope you're listening to our Teach Better Talk podcast. Go get the free course tomorrow morning. Wake up bright and early so you can download it. And we love you guys. So let us know if you need anything. We're always here to help. All right. We'll see you guys later.
See you guys.